Have you ever hit a point where everything just stops? You push, you plan, you grind, but no matter what you do, your life feels like it's trapped in wet cement. The forward momentum you used to rely on is completely gone. When you get stuck in that kind of void, your rational brain usually jumps to a terrifying conclusion. It tells you that this heavy, exhausting stagnation is your new permanent reality, that you have finally reached a dead end. But physical momentum has its own logic. Watch the ocean. Right before a massive swell hits the shoreline, the water pulls all the way back, exposing the bare sand. It retreats because it is gathering the sheer mass required for a surge. Your life follows a similar rhythm. The universe doesn't send a warning before it hands you a breakthrough. It communicates through shifts in energy. Long before your physical reality actually changes, a sequence of specific patterns starts to emerge in your daily life. When you recognize these shifts, the stagnation stops looking like failure and starts looking like preparation. The first response is biological. When you are weighed down by chronic stress or anger, you generate a dense energy field. This creates a barrier. Innocent, highly sensitive creatures instinctively detect that weight and steer clear of you. But as you approach a breakthrough, that internal friction clears out. Your energy becomes remarkably clear. You stop deflecting and you start magnetizing. You will notice this in mundane spaces. You might be standing on a crowded train or waiting in line at a grocery store, and suddenly a total stranger's toddler is staring at you, smiling, or trying to reach for your hands. You will see it with animals too. A neighborhood stray that usually sprints away from foot traffic will suddenly wander over. They will seek out your proximity and just sit quietly by your feet. These are not random quirks of behavior. Nature's most vulnerable beings rely on an unfiltered read of energy to survive. When they feel safe in your presence, they are sensing a frequency that your conscious mind is still catching up to. While animals and children reflect the shift from the outside, the next change happens entirely within your own psychology. You wake up one morning and realize the mental weight has simply lifted. Nothing in your bank account has changed, your physical problems remain unsolved, yet your mind is unusually still. There is a quiet, illogical enthusiasm in your chest. That drop in mental static is a prerequisite for what comes next. Once the noise dies down, you begin to notice the mechanics of timing that were previously invisible. When your mind is frantic, you miss the subtle cues in your environment. But once the static fades, you suddenly have the bandwidth to see the clear pathways and connections that were always there. You might be wondering about your direction in life, and a book falls open to a specific page. Or you overhear a stranger on a phone call mention the exact solution to a problem you've been agonizing over for months. People often call these coincidences. In reality, your mental receiver is finely tuned to the right frequency. You are simply listening to the broadcast that has always been playing. This clarity eventually sharpens into a definitive internal authority. Your intuition, that wordless tug in your gut, stops whispering and starts issuing commands. Consider a scenario where you have built a secure career, but every morning you wake up feeling hollow. You reach a point where you have to decide between safety and your own growth. Your rational brain maps out the risks. The outside world demands that you stay practical and hold on to what you have. Society insists that you maintain the status quo. Then the override kicks in. A steady conviction rises up and bypasses the list of pros and cons. You don't have a perfectly calculated plan, but you suddenly know with absolute certainty that you must walk away and build something new. Significant personal breakthroughs happen when a person drops the illusion of control and moves entirely on instinct. It is the moment you stop calculating the odds and start following the energy. The toddler's smile, the stray cat's company, the sudden mental quiet, and the urge to change course. All these experiences are linked. They are the laws of energy in action. When your internal frequency changes, the world around you begins to rearrange itself to match your new state. If you are in the middle of a brutal season, your past pain was not a waste of time. The tears and the patience during the pullback were the tension required for the release. Because the ocean has already retreated, The surge is the only logical next step. When you see these internal and external shifts occurring, it means the momentum has already shifted in your favor. To anchor this intent, go to the comments right now and write this phrase: I accept the signs of the universe. Trust the frequency you are moving into. Trust the cues around you. The pullback has finished, and your forward momentum is already underway.